The clock is ticking for a deal with the EU. She's on warning from the trade union movement, and most of all under intense pressure from inside her own party. So just how much longer can Theresa May stick it out? The latest attack from who else but Boris Johnson, accusing Theresa May of wrapping a suicide vest around Britain and handing the detonator to Brussels. Comments that have enraged May's allies. Foreign Office Minister Alan Duncan said it was one of the most disgusting moments in modern British politics, adding, "This is the political end of Boris Johnson. If it isn't now, I will make sure it is later. Hashtag never fit to govern."
He would be a disaster, not just for the Conservative Party, he'd be a disaster for our country. He was arguably one of the worst foreign secretaries that we have ever had. He was a very good mayor of London, but high office, he is incapable of being in high office.
But did Mr Johnson make the inflammatory comments to distract from revelations in the papers about his personal relationships? A dossier on his sex life is circulating around Westminster, apparently prepared by May aides to discredit him as a future leader. Downing Street has denied being involved.
It's clear that number 10 have got the attack poodles out and they're attacking Boris Johnson. We're now fighting for the Brexit we promised the British people, and it's going to be very emotive. There are high tensions, high passions on both sides.
And while the civil war rages on in the Tory party, a warning from police chiefs of actual civil disorder in the event of a no-deal scenario. According to a leaked report from the National Police Coordination Centre, a shortage of medicine and goods could lead to protests which then escalate.
I don't think people need to worry, and the reason people don't need to worry is because the government is looking rightly at what could be the possible outcome in a no-deal situation and then preparing for that.
Asked about Boris Johnson, the Home Secretary called for measured language and seemingly slapped down any leadership challenges.
The Conservative Party is not looking for a leader because we are lucky to have a very good leader, and she's also the Prime Minister of this country, and she's doing a great job.
He doesn't sound like a man about to challenge her, except speculation is rife Mr Javid has leadership ambitions himself, with apparent behind-the-scenes backing from a certain former Chancellor. At an event last night, George Osborne also issued a prediction that the UK will remain a member of the European Economic Area in a softer Brexit deal. Meanwhile, the Trades Union Congress have accused the Prime Minister of prioritising Conservative Party politics over workers, claiming the country is at crisis point. They've warned if May's deal doesn't deliver, the TUC will be backing a second vote.
Well, a short time ago, I spoke to the TUC General Secretary, Frances O'Grady, and I asked her what message she was trying to convey on Brexit.
Time is running out. We're leaving the European Union in March. The Prime Minister promised that we would have a deal by October. Now she's saying November. And we're saying that unless that deal protects workers' jobs and their rights and guarantees the Good Friday Agreement in Northern Ireland, then we want the people to have a say. And what's more, the TUC will throw its weight behind a campaign to give people a say on the terms of that deal. We're not calling for a rerun of the referendum. The TUC accepted and respects that result. But what we are saying is that people want a say on what happens next.
The head of the rail union, Mick Cash, says any move for a second vote would look like the TUC is ignoring the will of the people and that is playing with fire. He's right, isn't he?
Well, RMT is one of the 3 unions in the TUC family of 50 unions that campaigned to leave the European Union. We've made no secret of the fact that we thought it was best for working people on balance if that referendum result had been different. But we accepted the result, and whether people voted leave or remain, what working people want now is to know that their jobs and their livelihoods and their rights at work are secure.
You say you're serving notice on the Prime Minister today, but you're doing exactly the same to the Labour leader too, aren't you? This is a shot across the bows to Labour.
Well, Labour will decide its own position. It's already been clear that it's keeping all options on the table. And like us, it believes that people's jobs and rights should be at the heart of any deal. But I'm looking at the people who are in power now, in government.
Labour are constantly saying nothing is off the table. But Jeremy Corbyn has made it pretty clear for many months that he doesn't think there should be a second vote.
Well, I think we're mixing up two different things here. I don't think anybody is talking now about a referendum to reverse the decision that was taken 2 years ago. I think people accept that result and respect it. But what I do think people are entitled to is a voice on what happens next.
But would a more definitive line from Labour on this be helpful, do you think?
We want politicians of all stripes to start paying more attention to these real worries that working people have.
Given the infighting on both sides, most definitely, but given the infighting in Labour particularly, do you think that they have been distracted away from the concerns that you've identified there?
All political parties need to remember that this isn't about individual political careers or ambitions. I don't think that voters will look very kindly on any political party that doesn't put them first.